Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is been a minute. This is your Nerf Herder boy. You know what I'm saying? You know who I am. I mean, come on, y'all know who I am. The video that I'm going to be doing tonight is one that's been, I thought was going to happen a while ago. This is another saber that I jumped in midway commission for my buddy Jonathan, who was installing for Cameron. I did a KR hilt for him a while back, clan hilt, which involved pretty much a reinstall. And Cameron had a second hilt that was sent to me at the same time, is a KR Obi-Wan Kenobi Phantom Menace type hilt. And it's right out of the box, I was like, man, this thing is nice. I always love these hilts. As far as the like the Phantom Menace Attack of the Clones hilt design, I've always thoroughly enjoyed. This kit had quite a bit of it's got this kit has a way about it. Just leave it at that. There was a lot of things that I had to regroup, retry. You know, there was some hurdles to jump through to get this guy done. This is very much, in my opinion, a shelf queen type hilt. I haven't really seen too many of these out there. KR Sabers from the Saber Armory did the kit, and it's very close to. I have the old Corbanth version. It was just like a single button. And they are very similar, but you can really tell that the pommel design is different. Height's the same, but pommel designs are slightly different. Few differences. This also has a 2-switch solution, whereas the old Corbanth has a 1-button solution. But for the most part, they are very accurate. This one more so. Anytime you get a KR Sabers kit, accuracy is really going to play a huge role in the overall aesthetic. This thing has a way about it when you want to operate it. So I'm going to go ahead and show it off real quick. I only slapped on one font for it, which is by K Sith. It's his Obi-Wan Phantom Menace font. I just put it on just to showcase it. The rest of them are stock fonts because I haven't talked to Cameron as far as what he's purchased, or if he even wants me to throw stuff on there. So after I swing it around a little bit, I'll show you, Cameron, how to operate it, how to open it up, which is very, again, like I said, it's got its quirks, man. There's a certain way to go about this thing. A little touchy in some areas, so I'll have to show you. But this is, again, KR Sabers Obi-Wan Phantom Menace hilt. Has a CFX 18650 15 amp high drain battery from TCSS, recharge port, and then the speaker is a KR Saber speaker as well. And then the chassis is, I have no clue what the chassis is. It came with the kit. And then you have a custom Saber Shop neopixel connector too. So you got activation, obviously is going to be your red button, and then the purple jewel bezel is your auxiliary.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
I mean, come on. So the pommel has the hidden vents. There's no venting in the dome part. Your sound vent is kind of coming from in between the cubes, and then possibly a little bit out of the body, but. And then no shine through or anything for the accurate emitter, the blade plug. I'm gonna go ahead and put the blade in. This video actually might be shorter than any video I have, just because I don't have a lot of fonts to show off. Most of this is gonna be about me talking and showing you how to use this, Cameron, but I wanted to go ahead and make a video real quick on that. So you have a bag full of these. There's a bunch of them. The one thing that I did find out with this kit a lot of the times was, dude, I would really say that this is gonna be your best friend, a multi-tool. Go get a set of them. Usually they come in both. And you know, this is UK sizes, you know, or however that goes. So they might be a little different. Get a 2-set and you're good. I have them anyways. I think it's just a good idea. But you're gonna find different sizes for every little thing that you need. So the bags come with the same size of this guy, and it's really only needed for the retention on the emitter. So twist that out a little. Blade plug slides out. You got your TCSS connector down in there. This guy's just for show. It's a 1-inch blade, so you want to make sure, this is one thing that happened to me every now and then, you're going to want to make sure that this set screw is backed up fairly well. You know, make sure you're not catching your blade. Put it in, and then just be very gentle with this one whenever you put your blade in. I think that's kind of the general census for a lot of people. You know, put it in, get a little bounce going. You don't got to slam the blade in because you don't want to destroy the pins or anything like that, but get a little bounce, hold it down, and then tighten it until it's just a little snug. You don't have to over tighten it all, just give it a little good, and then you're ready to go. So I did something for this that I've always really kind of wanted to do with this hilt. I have never installed one of these before, but I had to. I've been waiting for this for way too long. Corn on the cob. Corn on the cob, dude. Hell yeah. Give me some of that corn on the cob. Can't really see it on this color, but in person you can.
Master, destroy it!
Dude, if that scene isn't like one of your favorites, get out of here, fake Star Wars fan. Not hitting it very hard because, again, like I said, this feels like a shelf queen. Display piece, you know. Alright, let me get, I'm not trying to get too crazy on you there. Again, like I said, I'm just going to showcase this one font. But, I love it. It really does feel good. All the ignition speeds are kind of faster, like most of what I usually do, but it just feels right on this hilt, and it sounds right and looks right. Like I love it. Every time I ignite this, I mean, it makes me smile a little bit. So, I mean, how can you not like that? That's classic. So, have you set up? Because these are kind of tricky. I'm going to get into that after this, after I take the blade out. But you do kind of gotta make sure that you're kind of tightening it. If it gets loosened, don't lose these. Again, I'm gonna go over it here in a second, but I set your blade changing and stuff like that, your spectrum mode, to press the auxiliary and twist. It's what I like to do to all sabers anyways, but the two buttons on this are kind of not the greatest to hit at the same time anyways, because it's kind of a rocker system in a way. So if you want to change your blades, you just press and twist spectrum. You can change your colors. You know, like a dark blue. That's the blue I like to see on this baby. Make it bright. But yeah, you know, if you want to do that in your blade styles and everything, you just throttle it around. And then press the auxiliary once you got it.
Master, destroy it!
And then, of course, some quotes.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
Meet Obi-Wan Kenobi.
I am ready to face the trials.
You are a much wiser man than I. That's the one thing I loved the most about the Phantom Menace was Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon's probably one of my all-time favorite Jedis, but I gotta always go to Obi-Wan also. I love Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's one of my absolute favorite Jedis of all time. but it's always really hard for me to pick between Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. I just really love that aspect in The Phantom Menace. I mean, you can't get much cooler than Liam Neeson as a Jedi, the green lightsaber and everything. Oh god, just so good. Okay, so again, not that much to show off as far as sound fonts go, because this has every other sound font on here is the stock CFX sound fonts. Let's get down to the nitty gritty.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
Always sassy. Okay, so again, man, this is where it's gonna get, maybe a lot of people are gonna just chime out at this part, because this is kind of the more boring aspect of it. This thing, like I said before, is tedious to operate. I hate to say it like that, make it sound negative, but it's just my experience with this. Installing this took a lot longer for me than normal because of all the little tiny things that I had to figure out and then perfect to perform correct. And it's just, I don't know. It's a process to deal with. So I'm just gonna go over the things real quick to go ahead and tell you what I went across and things to look out for. So first of all, right off the bat, your switches. So the way these switches are designed is these unthread, right? And now you're gonna have a set screw. This is a normal set screw. This is what all set screws look like for, blade retention or what have you. And what you have to do is you have to see, look, they're barely in there. I didn't glue these to that because it's like I said, it's kind of a fickle thing. So you got to find the right height, and then I didn't want to screw that up and glue it and permanently mess up your switches. Because again, like I said, this thing is very touchy, very finicky. So your switch is deep down in there, that brass macro tack hat. You need this guy to go in just barely. And I mean just barely. Once it's in, make sure it's... Oh, let's see, that wasn't even all the way in there. Oh, Lord, here we go. Here we go. This is what I've been dealing with. Okay, so I'm going to get my switch, or I'm going to get my retention screw just barely in there. Okay, and it's still good to click. Then you're going to take this guy, tighten it without tightening it in more, and get it to go down all the way, but still be able to be pressed. It's the smallest bit of tactile pushy. So, and the other one's the exact same way. So what I meant was, you're gonna want to always make sure, because sometimes when you swing these, it's a problem with the 89 kit for the Fallen. Those little plungers switches, whenever you press them over time, you might be loosening them. It's just the name of the game, and they could fall off. So that's what I find myself doing a lot over the past day of swinging this around, was making sure these are still on tight and still working correctly. Now, another thing, since we're in the emitter, was this whole top part is held on by those and by these bezels. So these bezels, I sanded these white little jewel type bezel things, like little hats. I sanded them just enough to where they're pressure fit into these things, because there's a Phillips screw underneath them, and that's what holds them in, and also this shroud piece. Now, under the shroud piece is your switches and your retention for your pixel connector, but the switch plate also rocks and is held in by that retention system. So that sits in there just right. But then you have two screws that hold this whole top part in. So yesterday when I finished and I was swinging it around, after a while, even after assembled and everything, those two Phillips screws that are on each side of this emitter core area came undone, like just loosened a little bit, and this whole thing was Rocker City, man. I mean, it was like a rattle. I was just like rattling all over the place, and I was like, good Lord, how many times I got to set? Because I had to take all these screws off, tighten those two little screws down, put everything back together, and I'm like, okay. And then after a while swinging it, it was loose again. So what I ended up doing was I pulled this up. Once I removed everything, I pulled this up, and I have a piece of double-sided tape that I put under the emitter, and then slid it back down. It's really tight now. Tighten down these screws, so those shouldn't be coming loose. And everything's been working great for me while I've been swinging around all day. But what I was getting at was these are sanded flush, or these are sanded just to be friction fit, just enough to be friction fit. So if you ever really did need to get to that, say for some reason this became loose again, I feel like if you had a very fine tip, you could pop these guys out so you can access the screws. I didn't want to glue them in because if this emitter came loose, this is your way in. So also, if these ever fall out, you have a whole backup set. So that goes over just the emitter, okay? That's just the emitter operation. And you should be good, man. Like I said, I've been trying to get it to look and operate well. If you're hearing some clanky, that's your switch hat. It's just the name of the game. So now here's the one thing that really I'm not a fan of. I'm sorry, I'm just not a fan of this system at all. It's a cool option. Again, this is display in my opinion, and I think the main goal in this was to have like a crazy crystal chamber reveal, which I've seen people do, and that's pretty cool. But you're gonna need different sizes to get this guy off, because this whole by the way, you don't want to take this pommel off, just leave it on. The speaker sits in there, it kind of free floats from the chassis design. I might put a little piece of double-sided tape to keep it closer on there, but this is what the design is, and this is all you ever really need to do. But this whole top part is held on by the CoverTech screw, but not really. It's also lines up with another set screw that you have to find the right height of, or this guy's loose. So you have to get this guy off, right? So get your size on which size that guy is, and then take this off. So if you ever need to open up your saber to charge it, or to well, you're gonna have to open it to charge it, or to switch your fonts and play with your SD card, do this on a flat surface so you don't lose your screws. So your CoverTech and your screw will come off. Now you feel how this, see how that kind of back and forth? That's because there is another set screw deep down in there that's smaller that you have to get the right height to come up to keep it from rotating. And that's where that set screw matches that set screw, but is at the proper height to lock it all down. Proper height, you're gonna learn by feel. There's no getting around it, man. I spent a lot of time trying to get this dude right. So then what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to get a very small size, which is not this dude. You have to get a very small size, get in there to where you find that set screw, and tighten it down maybe one turn, because you're pushing the set screw, you're recessing the set screw down so you can turn this dude. You get what I'm saying? So like, there's your little set screw that I'm talking about. This guy needs to pop up and go into that hole, and then your CoverTech needs to lock into that to hold this all together. So once you have that kind of swiveled out, you can go right to this. And like I said, the chassis is right there, just free floats. I'll probably try to lock that down a lot better, just make it look better for you, feel better. But again, for the most part, when the body's on, it doesn't go anywhere because it's all pressure, precision fit. So I'm gonna give you this twist kill key for shipping, but you just twist it.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Or you can pull it out completely.
I am ready to face the trials.
But yeah, I'm gonna give you a kill key. I don't know if it's this one or the other one I got, but you just, either way, that's your.
I am ready to face the trials.
That's your dude right there. So now, if you want to get to the SD card access, what I've been doing just because it's easier is just slide that back a little bit. And there's your CFX, right? All tucked in nice, and you just pop that out right there. And then make sure that your kill key is inserted when you're pulling the SD card out. I think you know how to operate pretty much everything. Once all that's done and you've done your changes or you've charged it, now you got to put it back together. Okay, so now you're going to see how it's free twisting. You can twist all the way around. You're gonna have to just go ahead and go and look down in there and twist it until you go, oh hey, there's a little set screw, a little tiny set screw right there. Then you're gonna have to take the set screw. Now we are loosening to tighten it. So I think I need like 1.5 little turns. Okay, now that's kind of locked in. Now this is the guessing game, man. This is what I was saying by you're gonna have to just guess on if you got that height right. And if I'm doing this wrong and I look like a giant fool, then my bad, but I honestly do not see any other way to do this. It's not threaded. I mean, this is the design. This is the design you get. So now, what I mean by is you get that drop-in screws. This is kind of why it's frustrating. Gotta have a steady hand, bro. Okay, so now I've got the cover tech and I'm tightening it down and it's going and it's going. And I feel like that's on there pretty good. I got it. Oh my God. See, that's what I'm saying. You might learn it. You might feel it. You might be like, oh, that's too much. Basically, though, if it's not tightened enough, I mean, right now I don't have any wobbles, right? There's no sounds. But if you don't have the right height on the set screw from the chassis and this guy to meet it, then this will wobble. Oh, it already does. I was just close enough. Maybe I can get another little turn. I don't want to break it or anything. Yeah, that's good. If you don't get that the right height for the set screw to meet this set screw, I mean, you're basically taking 2 set screws and trying to line them up right. So like if this set screw in the chassis is too far down, then this set screw will never touch it and the thing will continue to swivel. If the chassis set screw is too high, then you won't ever really be able to lock it down. You literally have to find them in the middle. It's the name of the game of this beast. But once that's back on there, you're good to go. That's the name of the game. So if I were you to fully enjoy this, I would make sure that you have all your settings, all your sound fonts and everything you enjoy on the SD card. And then you really only have to do that dance whenever you charge it. So other than that, you just gotta watch out for all these things. And you can enjoy your shelf queen, man. I wouldn't duel with this personally. I've swung it around and clashed it and felt okay. But again, there are a lot of like little screws and bits and bobs that like if you lose, you have a different set for these. But you know, this is a take care of it showpiece in my opinion. I mean, it's a beautiful hilt. It's just, yeah, again, like I said, it has some things you got to really watch out for. But man, I hope you enjoy it. It was really fun to actually have one of like the Phantom Menace style ones to swing around. Yeah, man. I'll message you, you and Jonathan, and we'll talk about it. And I'll see if you want any changes before I get it out to you. Again, dude, just a massive thank you for your patience. I thought I was gonna be able to get this out to you, you know, the other week, and I had to get another battery, an in-hilt battery, and then it took me a lot longer to fiddle with it than I thought it would. So you just have been super patient and awesome. And again, thank you. So that'll do it for this one, you guys. Thank you, Cameron, again. Thank you, Jonathan. And I hope everyone's happy. Appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you in the next video.
Who's scruffy looking?